because we're females and we experience hormones much different than males. That's where stuff like this just doesn't work for us because we change week by week, dependent on where we are in our cycle.
Welcome back to Duo On Air. I'm Abby.
And I'm Courtney.
And we're the ex-agency turned entrepreneurial team that puts the Duo in Duo Collective. Our boutique organic marketing agency specializes in SEO, social media strategy, and branding.
We're an everyday pair of business besties / marketing experts obsessed with helping our community learn more about what it takes to run a business.
Which is why on Duo On Air, we're not holding anything back. We're giving you all the info we know about how to grow your business organically so you can be the confident CEO you were made to be.
And how to navigate life as a small business owner.
Whether it's on your own or with your best friend by your side, so grab your coffee
or your mimosa, we don't judge,
and settle in for a quick value-packed episode of Marketing Tips. Welcome back to the Duo On Air podcast. This is episode number 171, and we are beyond excited to bring this guest on the pod. We met Alessia at a retreat last October and instantly knew that this was a conversation we needed to bring to the pod. She spoke about habits in a way that we have never heard before, not just as a tool for getting more done, but as a way to become who you are truly meant to be. And one thing that really stuck with us was that she pointed out that almost all the major habit books are written by men, and they don't take into account things like our cycles, energy shifts, and very real mental load that women like us carry. So today we're diving into what it looks like to build habits that support your goals and your body. And if you've ever struggled to stick with a routine, I'm raising my hand, this one is also for you. Let's jump in. Hello, Alessia. Thank you so much for being on the Duo On Air podcast.
Thank you for having me. So excited to be with both of you.
Yay. Yeah, we met last fall at a retreat, and Court and I feel like we talk about some of the things that you said like on a weekly basis, probably.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Such a high
When
compliment.
you were up there speaking, I was just like, in my brain, I was just like, this lady needs to be on our podcast. You were just like such a wealth of knowledge and just so inspirational, and everything you said, I was sitting there like, oh yeah, she's right. Or like, oh, I need to shift my mindset to that. Or yes, that is genius.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh,
We
wow,
cried,
thank
we
you.
laughed.
We cried. We
did
cried
all the
and laughed.
things.
We had all of the emotions when you were
It was great.
up there speaking.
So I'm so excited because I think people are also going to cry and laugh as they dig into this. But let's just kind of start and back up a little bit to talk about your journey, because I think it is so wild, just like the journey you've been on from working at Google and then to coaching and writing a book and hosting retreats and all of the things. So why don't you just start by giving us a little background of how you've navigated here?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, what a wild ride. I was actually just having this conversation earlier this morning to think that had it not been for my beloved corporate role that I had at Salesforce being potentially axed, then going through the process of seeking internal promotions and external roles, and Salesforce not being able to come up in salary where I wanted them to. So I leave, I go to Google, and I start there a week before COVID. Like, had that not happened, like, we certainly would not be having this conversation. I would probably still be in the corporate life, mostly thriving, maybe. I don't know. But that's not how the story went. So yeah, I started at Google March 2nd of 2020, and my daughter was like 15 months old at the time, and I had no childcare because her daycare closed, and my husband is amazing at what he does, and there was no way for him to turn down the dial at his job. And I told my boss, I was very upfront. I'm like, hey, I know you recruited me over here. I'm working 3 hours a day, bro, and it's not going well. I'm drowning. I need help. Oh, no, I'm not worried about you. You're going to do fine. Well, she didn't do fine. The narrator comes in. But by December of that year, like, it was a reckoning, because what had happened was, leading up to all of this, I had placed my entire identity on external things, namely being really, really, really good at my job, being a quota crusher. I don't know. Maybe that's a new one. Being a quota crusher, being, a tech sales badass, whatever you wanted to put on it. I was always a high performer, and then I wasn't. because of the circumstances that I could not control. And so I'm so grateful for this journey, even though it has been so full of twists and turns, because had it not been for that external identity being stripped from me, I wouldn't have been able to find my true identity. And that is leaning into being a child of God, shining a light, helping other people in a way that is actually meaningful versus selling software, which, yeah, there's some meaning in that, but you gotta look pretty hard to find it most days. And so, when I did leave the corporate world, I carried a lot of my toxic crap into entrepreneurship. And I learned real quickly, ooh, I no longer have a Fortune 10 logo to hide behind. Like, it's all me. And if I am not doing the inner work, if I am not actually walking the walk, this is not going to go well. Right? Like when you're working for someone else, you can kind of like hit the brakes on the internal stuff and just show up and sell and go home and call it a day. When you are the business, you don't have that luxury. And so that is how I fell into habits, became a student of it, and then thought, you know what? I love everything I'm learning, but there's white space here. I feel like none of these books were quite written for me. So I'm going to write a book from a feminine perspective. And now here we are. That is now foundational. Habits will always be the foundational piece, but now it's like, oh, let me help you write a book, because that has been my favorite transformational process of all the processes.
Yeah. What was the habit at the time that you were like, I need to read these habit books to get these habits? Like, what was the habit that you were seeking? Do you remember like what it was that you were searching for?
I don't really remember what I was searching for. I think just more peace and harmony, because I felt like I was playing whack-a-mole. You
Mm-hmm.
remember that arcade game? It's like, oh,
Yes.
my health is going great, but oh, now my business is suffering. Oh, my
Mm-hmm.
marriage is going awesome, but now, oh, I haven't been working out, or that
Mm-hmm.
those are maybe not the best
Yeah.
examples, but I felt like I couldn't get everything dialed in all at once. The habit that started everything though was that I began taking a daily greens shot. So it could be something like seemingly very insignificant that is like
Mm-hmm.
the gateway drug to you exploring, oh, well, if I can do this, what else can I do that's good for
Mm-hmm.
me and fuels me and makes
Hmm.
things
Yes.
easier?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I resonated with that story so much because when you were telling it, I was thinking back, and Court knows this period of my life. It was like, I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years ago. I read the 4% Fix.
Hmm.
And I read the book. That book was all about how you can get 4% of your day to like achieve your dreams, basically. And so it's like it was all about like waking up earlier in the morning. And so like I started doing that. And so then I woke up earlier and I would read a book and drink my coffee. And then I would add another book. And then I would add another book. And then I was like, oh, I'm also going to do like a devotional. And then all of a sudden I had like 6 books I was trying to read in the morning because this is the high achiever in me. This is like my Enneagram 3 like coming out where I was like habit stacking to a fault where I was just like, how much more can I do? And then I just fell off all of it because I was
Mhm.
like, what? And at that time was when I was reading like Atomic Habits and I was reading all those habit books because it was like the science behind it, right, is like so wild. But you like some of the things that you talked about too, and I would love for you to dig into this, where you were like, these weren't written for us because we aren't like, we have hormones, like we have cycles, we have things that change in our lives. We're moms, we're like, there's heavy loads sometimes. And so I think it was a situation for me where I don't even remember what happened. I'm sure it was like everyone was sick at one time and you fall off the habits and then all of a sudden it's just gone. And I think I've said to Court, like, how do I get her back?
I think she was also trying to habit stack like too much. She was trying to do too
It's bad.
many of these things that like she thought was going to bring her some peace and joy. And
Hmm.
then it was almost like it ended up being a chore. It was like a thing she had to check off the to-do list. Like
Hmm.
I have to read my book. I have to write in my devotional. I have to have my cup of coffee in silence. And it became more of a task than it was like something for her to like carve out space for her. And so when she like couldn't do the task, then she started to feel frustrated and it wasn't something that was fun for her anymore. And yeah,
Yep.
and then she just like fell off of it. But I do remember specifically when we were at the retreat, you saying something about us being, because of our cycles and because we're females and we experience hormones much different than males, that's where stuff like this just doesn't work for us because we change week by week dependent on where we are in our cycle. And Abby and I mean, because we work together and we obviously have cycles, we like talk about like, I just can't get anything done today because I just got my period. You're like, I just need to focus on something else. Or like, then you're, out of your period and your ovulation phase and you're like, I want to do everything. Like everything is so inspiring. I'm so excited. I have all this energy. And it's just so crazy to think that like we need to change our mindsets around habits based on us being females.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yep.
mind blowing.
So much of it is like giving yourself grace too, and just like noticing the patterns. So, people are listening to this, they couldn't see that I was like cracking up as you're going through this, Abby, because like same here. Actually, I'm going to give an example that'll be a really good illustration for what I'm about to tee up. But like after I started this green shot, I got really into the Miracle Morning, which was created by Hal Elrod. He has such an inspiring, amazing story. Highly encourage everyone listening to this to go watch his documentary. I think it's on Prime Video. Anyway, he created the Miracle Morning as a means to get out of like an all-consuming depression. Like he had bad stuff going on in his life, and the Miracle Morning saved him. So I started doing the Miracle Morning, which there are 6 parts. You can remember them with the acronym of SAVERS. So it's silence, which would be like prayer or meditation. Then you have affirmations, visualization, exercise, reading, scribing, or journaling. So you do each of those for 10 minutes to total 1 hour. I started doing this. It was great. And then I was like, wow, let me make it longer. Let me read more. Let me do a 45-minute workout instead of a 10-minute workout. And it's wild how many women, especially I have talked to, that experience this with like the morning routine swell. You end up making it so big that then you resent it and you just don't do it at all.
Mm-hmm.
You,
Yep.
right?
I read that book during that window of time. That was one of the books I read. And I even he had like a smoothie recipe, right? It's like a wild. Do you remember this? I swear it's in
Oh,
the book.
no.
Oh, there is a wild smoothie recipe. Like and it was supposed to be like the best thing to put in your body in the morning. And so that was like what he also drank
Wasn't
every
that the
morning.
one that had really crazy ingredients?
Yes, crazy wild ingredients. It actually wasn't that bad, but I did that too because it's like what else? And I think what resonated with me the most too of you're like what was I searching for? And I think at the end of the day, it's not like we're searching for all of these new tasks, right? As if we don't have enough to do. But we're searching for something that's like out of balance and like something that's not in harmony. And we forget that that's the whole reason we started that in the first place is
Yep.
because, like, for me, oftentimes it's like I don't take a break. I'm like always go, go, go. And so the reason I started that morning thing was to take a break. And then I made it. How productive can I make this break? And just lost sight of what actually matters.
Oh my gosh. I wish that we lived close to each other because I feel like we would hang out in real life all the time. Everything
Yeah.
you're saying, I'm
Yeah.
like, yep, yep,
Yep.
yep. And this is it.
It's
I
okay.
mean,
I'll move to
I,
Arizona. It's fine.
yeah, come. We welcome you. Yeah, it's interesting though. I mean, I think I repel people who do not identify as a high achiever. Like if you don't fall in that bucket, like you're running as far in the other direction from me as possible. And like likewise, like I just jive with people like the two of you and all the women listening. Like I want to squeeze every drop of juice out of this life. And sometimes that can look really freaking unbalanced. And this is
Mhm.
such a great illustration of how that can happen. So then, okay, so let's go back to like the hormonal thing. So if you look at all of the best-selling books on habits, they're all written by men. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It just is. And men have a different perspective, right? Also, I think women can get really down on ourselves because we struggle to do the same thing day in and day out because of what you had mentioned, Courtney. Like we are on 28-day-ish hormone cycles. Men are on a 24-hour hormone cycle. That is why, I mean, I see it with my husband. He can do the same thing day in, day out and love it. If I did that, I would hate the thing I was doing day in, day out. And I would also just get so bored that I would go bonkers and I would just quit doing it. So think back to Savers, the Miracle Morning thing. What if you viewed that as a menu? So when you are in your menstrual cycle, when you're actually bleeding, that's a great time to like rest, recharge, reflect. Picking scribing off the menu might feel really good. Might be a great time to journal and just reflect and chill and take it easy, right? If you want to pick up a couple other things off the menu, great, but you don't have to. So it's also like setting the bar lower so that we don't get this like morning routine swell that becomes a chore, right? And then,
Love
if
that.
you want to be creating first thing in the morning too. I have my best creative energy in the morning. I don't know if you guys do too, but that would be a really good time while I'm in my follicular, especially to be like planning, ideating, maybe like mapping out like what type of content do I want to be creating? Like, oh, like what's a fun post I could write for Substack? Like, oh, like what should be something that's going to go in my next book? What do I want to podcast about? Things like that. And then to actually create the content, that's more of an ovulatory activity. Because when you're ovulating, you're like hot girl summer vibes. Like, I look good. I feel good. I'm going to go to networking events. I'm going to like film content and, feel great about it. And then when you're in your luteal, like maybe you don't want to do anything except contemplate divorcing your partner, which I'm joking. I'm also not though. Right. Or like contemplate burning your business down. Like the luteal gets really dark or can, but it's also a great time to like close up loose ends. You're hyper detail oriented during that time. So setting yourself up based on the phase of your cycle you're going to be in, have that on your Google Calendar as a repeating event that you modify as needed and plan around it. And then just like take it a little easier in the morning. What's one thing that will be super supportive if you do today? If you want to add on more, great. But I think the key is doing less than you feel like. Let me say that again. Do less than you feel like.
Oh yeah, that's probably needs to be written on a post-it and
Which
put
is
on my wall.
the hardest part. Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
for real. So why do you feel like, I mean, I feel this about myself. Like I'm bad at habits. Like I feel like that's something that it's almost like a belief that I'm sure I need to just like say affirmations to get myself out of it, right? But I think so many people that feel that way. They feel like they are just bad at habits. And so they don't even try to start or they don't try to make changes. Like what would you tell someone who has that? What would you tell me?
I'm also that same person. And I think in my mindset with habits is it's overwhelming. I'm like, there's no way I can like make all of these habits and actually stick to them. It's overwhelming to me. So I don't even try.
Mm. Oh my gosh, I have so much to say on this. Let me. So I'll start with the first thing that's dropping in, and then we can expand on this if we have time. So I feel like the biggest thing is how many of these habits that you feel like you should do are things you don't actually need to do. The amount of people I know, and me included, I am not immune from this, even though I am so conscious of it and working so hard to rewire it. I should on myself all day long. Women, especially, are always shoulding on ourselves. I should do this. I should do that. Oh, Becky Sue over there, she goes to Pilates and drinks her matcha latte and, only eats foods that are green with 100 grams of protein a day. I should be doing that. You know what? We're all just doing the best we can. The way that we are living right now is not what we have evolved to deal with. I mean, think about this. Even like 150 years ago, we would probably be living in like hyper small towns, maybe tribes, depending where in the world you were. You'd have a lot of help to raise your child, right? Or cook the meals. You wouldn't be doing this in isolation like we are now in nuclear families and in modern life where you're living alone in an apartment, perhaps. So a lot of the crap that you have to do, you were not equipped to do all of it. So just think instead, okay, what are the things I actually need to focus on that will fuel my body and my mind so I can do more of what I want? And everything else, if I get to it, it's a bonus. And if I don't give a shit. I'm over it. I'm done shitting on myself. I
Yeah.
know that's easier said than done, but
Yeah, right. And I think that's so true because honestly, you can spend 10 minutes scrolling Instagram and you instantly feel bad because you see the highlight reel of what everyone else is doing and you're like, why am I not doing that? Someone posted a story about getting on the Peloton and it's like, I should have done that. Like I should do that at some point today. And you should on yourself all day long. So how would you say like in using habits to actually get you to like that harmony, right? That harmony that you're trying to find, because that's the whole point of like trying to find this balance in our life. So, how do you decide what habits are worth trying and worth like going after?
I love this question so much. There's actually an order to address them in. So in my book, I detail this like at great lengths, but we're going to give the Cliffs Notes version here, which might be all that you need. So here we go. Hierarchy of needs, which was developed by Abraham Maslow. You want to focus on the stuff at the bottom of the pyramid first. Now, there's 5 layers to this pyramid. We're going to go through them lightning quick. First layer is physiological needs. So stuff like sleep, nutrition, hydration. What am I forgetting? Probably a few. We're going to keep going. All right. Next is safety and stability. And this could look in modern life like, do you feel safe in your home? Do you feel like some level of financial security? Or are you living like hand to mouth and like you're always stressed about it, right? Next level is belonging and connection needs. These are your friendships, your network, your partner, your family, on and on and on, right? Level 4 is self esteem. Do you feel generally capable of handling what life throws at you? Do you feel good at your job? Do you respect yourself? Do you like how you look? Stuff like that. Then the fifth and final layer is self actualization. This is like you are fully in your purpose. You are in the zone. You are doing what God put you on earth to do. You know it and you feel real good about it. Okay. Now, where do people focus when they want to create habits? It's usually the top 2 levels. Oh, I have a goal. I want to be a best-selling author. Okay, that's great. I had that goal too. But what are the foundational habits at the bottom of the pyramid, the boring things that will support you hitting that goal? And I'm willing to bet these people with big goals, yes, I'm talking to you, listener, and to me and to Abby and Courtney,
Mm-hmm.
are you neglecting the stuff at the bottom that will enable you to do the big thing, to have the big habit, so to speak, right? Like you could have let's say that your habit is, oh, I want to work out 5 days a week lifting weights in the gym so that I love the way I look. Okay, great. Are you sleeping enough? Are you eating food that fuels your body? If you're in a creative role, are you eating food that fuels your brain? Because newsflash, when I learned this, it blew my mind, figuratively, literally. Your brain's 2% of your body mass and it uses 20% of your body's energy. So if you think that you can subsist on skipping lunch and drinking soda and grabbing, some kind of processed food out of the pantry and that's going to be your meal day in and day out, I have news for you. Your quality of work is probably not very good. You got to fuel your brain, right? So, are we taking care of the basic things? That is where I would start when it comes to habits. You want to sleep more? Let's talk evening routine because good mornings start with good evenings the night before, right? Deconstructing that. What does a good evening routine look like? If you're struggling to eat throughout the day, and I'm guilty of this, by the way, I am so bad when it comes to skipping lunch. I get too busy and I literally forget to eat. Anyone else do that? Yeah, it's not
I
good.
literally grabbed a handful of almonds before I came up here.
Every day, literally every
Hey,
day.
at least it's a handful of almonds though, and you're not like, I mean, some people are like, probably not people who listen to this show, but like some people are like eating Twinkies or like whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could not be doing your brain a bigger disservice by that. Or like if you're not hydrating, like how can you make it easier to hydrate? Like I have my emotional support water bottle that I literally bring everywhere with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I try to drink 3 of these a day. All that stuff really, really matters. And those are the habits I would focus on. They'll tend to flow upstream and make the bigger, bolder goals a lot easier to hit.
Yeah,
I got a
yeah.
little soapboxy there. Sorry.
No, I
No, that's
think
great.
it's so true because those, like, what's the first thing to go if you are having a big launch or you're prepping for something? The first thing to go is sleep and
Mm-hmm.
healthy food and grocery shopping for healthy food. And like, those are the first things to fall to the bottom of the list.
Mm-hmm.
But we
Totally.
always say it's temporary. But then again, it's like we've created this this backwards habit of like letting the things that matter go. And I think like even listening to this, so like, yes, like listening to this and then thinking, I'm sure a lot of people feel this way too, of like, wow, now I have so much work to do, right? So even if you think of like, okay, I need to like get the bottom of that pyramid, I need to start doing all of these habits on all of these different things like drink enough water, and now I need to work out every day, and I need to get some good sleep, and I need a good nighttime routine, and I need a good like, now you just start creating this list again. Where do you start? Like how do you, and then
Yeah.
how, like not only where do you start, but then how do you know when to add more for the chronic overachievers like myself
Mm.
who will do something during the ovulation phase. And I will literally, there was a week, I'm sure this was my ovulation phase. I wrote down, I made a schedule. I blocked off my calendar to work out every day. Remember? I
Mm-hmm.
did, Court knows all
Mm-hmm.
of it. She sees my habits, just go really hard and then die. Like she,
Maybe
and
that's why I don't try to set
I know
habits because
she just
I
watches
watch
me.
you from afar and I'm like,
Yeah,
oh
she
no.
just watches me. I asked ChatGPT to create me a workout to revolve around my cycle and like all of the stuff. And so then I did it. I did it for a week and I had check boxes for like how much water I was going to drink, but I did it all. I worked out. I
Mm.
did like the nighttime routine. I did my red light. I literally made a list of too many things and
Yeah.
then just cold turkey stopped it all and died.
Yep, the list got too big. I think it's such a good question that you're asking. Where to start and then when to add. So the where to start thing, there's some nuance here. I would generally say start with something that is at the bottom, like a basic physiological need that is met through the habit. So again, hydration, uh, I would add sunlight of some level. Morning sunlight's the best too because it resets your circadian rhythm. That's also going to help you check that box on better sleep. Um, Eating regular, like what's the thing if you zoom out and you're like, okay, the common denominator that would solve a lot of my problems is what? Is it that you're chronically not getting 8 hours of sleep? By the way, I just met someone the other day that's like, I literally thrive on 4 hours of sleep. And I'm like, I am so,
I
so
don't
jealous.
believe
I've
them.
heard of, well,
Do
actually,
they?
I've heard of people like this. There are some people who are like more directly descended from the people who kept watch at night when we were all like living in caves or whatever. And so
Oh,
they actually need less sleep.
That
I'm
makes
really
that's
hoping in my
wild.
next life that I get that gene because if I could only get 4 hours of sleep, I would be dominating so hard. It would just be amazing. Anyways, neither here nor there. But if a lack of sleep is the thing that you notice is like affecting everything else, like you're tired, so you don't work out. You're tired, so the quality of work that you're doing is not that great. You're tired, so you don't feel like making yourself lunch or breakfast. Like that might be, and also I say this with all the love. If you are in a season of life where like, let's say you have a newborn, girl, it is not the time to be working on personal development. Just just get through it. Do the best you
Just
can, right?
survive.
Hmm.
Just survive. You're in the trenches. It's okay. Actually, if you're listening to this podcast, like maybe just go take a nap
Yeah.
instead, right?
Exactly. Turn it off.
Yeah,
Agreed.
just take care of yourself right now. So it's honoring like where you're at, but yeah, look for what I call are like the domino habits. And this could also be a habit that you subtract. Like my bad domino habit, and this is like there's more to untangle here with what I'm about to say, but my domino habit was I was drinking too much. So I'm alcohol free now. It's been a cheat code, but like initially I looked at and I was like, oh, me drinking alcohol is literally contributing to every single thing that is wrong in my life. I overspend because of it, because, you have a few too many drinks and your inhibitions are low. And I'll buy this thing that the Instagram ad showed me. I wouldn't eat well. I wouldn't feel like working out, tired and groggy. Work product was not what it could have been. So do you have a domino like that, that if you solved it, everything else would become easier? And that might be the place to start. Otherwise, the place to start is where you feel excited to start.
Hmm. Yeah. I think that's important too, because if you don't want to do it, then it's not going to happen. And that was definitely something for me. Like when I was thriving in my morning routine, I think it was one of the many books I was reading at the time, but it was like, what did I want to wake up for in the morning? And I wanted to wake up for my cup of coffee. Like my cup of
Yep.
coffee was my favorite thing. And
Yep.
so I took the pressure off of like, I don't have to wake up and work out. I can just wake up and have my cup of coffee and sit there. But then that got me out of bed. And so I think it was definitely something that I wanted to do. And it's like tying that like good with the thing you're trying to build, right?
Yep.
Which I
Make it
think is very
appealing.
powerful. Hmm.
Yep.
I think something for me too that I took away from last fall with you was just asking. So, if I wanted to set a habit, and let's say it wasn't a habit that was necessarily like fun, right? But it was something that I should be doing every day. Like, I got really bad about taking my vitamins. And so, you had said something at the conference where you said, WTF, where's the friction? And so
Yep.
sometimes I will literally just stop and I'll be like, why am I not taking my vitamins daily? Like, what is stopping me from doing that? And I have a plethora of them. And I think I was just like, I have so many I have to take and it's just annoying. And like, by the end of the night, that's when I usually took them. I was so tired that I was like, nope, I'm just going to crawl into bed and go to bed. So
Yep.
I said, WTF. I was like, where's the friction? I was like, I need them right by my nightstand. I need them organized throughout the day so I don't have to open every pill bottle and like dump them into my hand. And I need my water on my nightstand. And that's what I do now. I solved it by asking, where's the friction? And I took that friction away and I made it so much more simple for me to do that every day. And I think that's changed like my perspective on a lot of things. Like I'm just like, WTF, where's the friction? Why can't I do this? What's stopping me from doing this? I need to remove that.
I love that you took that acronym and ran with it.
I
It's
did.
honestly like, I think the biggest hack when it comes to any behavior, because like every single human behavior has four components, which you ladies remember from the retreat, right? So you can remember them with the acronym of ACTS for all you listeners. So ACTS. There's ambition, which is your desire to do it. We don't want to rely on this, but it certainly helps if you want to do the behavior. Then you've got C, capability, whether it's easy or hard to do. T, which is trigger, the prompt or the cue to do it. And then S, satisfaction, the reward that you get for doing it. So when you can't do something and you ask WTF, where's the friction? You're increasing capability, which is what you always want to focus on when building a habit. All too often, we put all of our eggs in the motivation basket. And I am here to tell you, especially in modern life, you will run out of willpower by the end of the day. So if it is even remotely hard to do, you're probably not going to do it. I just saw something recently. Our brains have evolved to handle 2,500 decisions a day. Any guesses how many decisions we make a day right now in 2025?
Oh my goodness. No, but I'm very
Oh my
curious.
gosh, I'm so
You
curious.
said they've evolved to handle 2,500.
Yep, that's what our brains have been, yeah, evolved to handle. And right now, with modern life, we're making 35,000 decisions a day.
Oh
Oh
my
How they tally that, I don't
goodness.
know. But if you
Yeah.
think
gosh.
about it, even when you scroll Instagram, it's like the decision of, do I share this with my friend? Do I like this enough to add to my
Yeah.
stories? Am I liking it? Am I
Should I
commenting on it?
stop scrolling?
Yeah,
That's a
should I
decision.
stop
Yeah.
scrolling and check my email? Okay, now I'm in my email. Oh, should I read this now or just wait for later when I have time? Like if you think about all these micro decisions, it depletes you. It's literally
Mm.
decision fatigue. So
Hmm.
that is another reason to make things so easy. Courtney, the other thing you did with the vitamins that you were solving for, whether you realized it or not, is you were creating a trigger. You were creating a prompt or a cue to take them by putting it in plain sight on your nightstand. And that is a huge component until things get wired in. And, we've talked about scrolling a lot too. Like every behavior has a reward for it. If it didn't, we wouldn't do it. So dopamine gets such a bad rap with the scroll hole that we all find ourselves in, usually at some point throughout the day. Use that reward circuit to your benefit. So Courtney, like with the vitamin example, as soon as you remember to take them while you're taking them or like immediately after, celebrate the fact that you did it.
Oh,
And
that's a
that
good
will wire
idea.
it in as deeply satisfying. And then your brain's like, oh, I love this dopamine. What was I doing for this release?
Mm-hmm.
And then
Mm-hmm.
you wire that as a deeply satisfying behavior, more likely to do it.
Okay, I'm gonna add that.
Yeah.
I
It's
like it.
wild. I think it is wild just to think of retraining your brain to like which you can do. It's just definitely like it feels like such a beast, right? To like get started. But it is crazy because you can like we have trained our brains naturally to do things that are probably harming us more than doing us good. So it's like we have to take the approach of like you said, like looking at that triangle and seeing how we can reshape and restructure our day, especially when things feel out of harmony.
Yeah. And, everyone listening to you, you're probably doing a lot better than you're giving yourself credit for. So you've got another part of your brain that I just think is like so cool. It's called the reticular activating system, or RAS, and it's your brain's filter. So I don't know the exact number of stimuli that we're each bombarded with every second, but it's a lot. I've heard anywhere from like, a few million to a few billion. So whatever it is, a lot of information. We can't take all that in though, right? So your brain's RAS is like, well, let me filter out everything that's not important. And I'm only going to show you the stuff that you care about that's important to us, right? So you want to have evidence that you are actually good at creating habits, that you are actually good about creating the life that you want, that you are whatever type of person you want to affirm. Tell your brain, show me evidence that I am great at creating habits. Show me evidence that I am closer than I think I am to my goal, whatever it might be. Maybe ask for a sign. Hey, I am thinking about getting a white Tesla. Show me white Teslas. You're going to start to see white Teslas everywhere. They were always there. You just didn't notice them before, right? We've all had that experience. Maybe not the
Mm-hmm.
Tesla, but some type of car. So
Oh
use your
yeah.
brain's RAS to show you, no, you actually are a lot better at this than you think you are, and then just build that muscle from there by choosing one thing to start with.
One thing, that's my kryptonite right there. Just one.
I know.
Because my brain instantly is like, well, what if it's not a big deal if I just do two? Like that's not a big deal.
Okay, I'm gonna hold you accountable.
I'll tell you
One.
though, if you did want to add two, as long as you can do them at the same time, that could work. So if you want to drink more water, maybe you pair that with, I really want to take my vitamins every day. So I'm going to fill up my big 40-ounce Stanley that all us basic girlies carry around. I'm going to fill that up and then I'm going to take my vitamins. Something like that could work. Just don't have it be like completely opposite things.
Right. Yeah. No, I've definitely already done that before where I'm like, oh, I'm going to do my red light mask. And what else can I do while I'm wearing this to, do more during my self-care? And it's like, oh, I'm also going to foam roll. Like, whatever. It's like, it's wild. My brain, I think sometimes is very wild. But I love the idea of, I think it's that dopamine that we're all missing in some of these habits that yeah, they don't seem to have a reward. Or you're like I mean there is a reward under them, but it's not as big of a hit as it is for other things, right? Like you don't feel it as strongly. And
Yeah.
so it's like and especially when you have the oh, I don't want to do that feeling before you start, you really do need to shift it, which is wild.
And I think too, if it's
Yeah.
like, if you don't like, or you say you want to work out, you want to add that as a habit, but the idea of working out is like gross to you or like too much work or something. I think it's like reframing your brain to be like, okay, maybe it's not like go to the gym and work out like everybody else. Maybe it's doing yoga in your backyard, or maybe it's just like literally walking around the block. Like, I think people put things
Yeah.
like working out in such a weird bucket where they're like, it has to be so specific, where even if you just get out and walk your dog, that's a workout.
Mm,
Like you're working your
Yeah.
body. And
doing
I think,
something.
yeah, you're like physically doing something. So I think it's like
Yeah.
reframing your mind for something like that too, because you said if it's something that you don't like or you're pushing off because you don't want to do it, then you're never going to do it. You have to have some sort of an enjoyment
Hmm.
to like have it be a habit and have it stick.
Yeah. Oh,
Absolutely. Yeah. And making it small. So, like, if you do want to create a habit, let's just say walking a mile every day, that's a big habit to decide to just implement and do every day. Make it so small. Perhaps it's literally just putting on the walking shoes. That's the habit. And then we talked about earlier, how do you know when to grow it? When that feels really easy and you want to grow it, give yourself permission to make it just a little bit bigger. So maybe it's putting on the walking shoes, walking to the mailbox. And maybe you create like, what's my baseline habit that I'm going to do come hell or high water, whether me and my entire family have the flu, whether it's, you guys are up in Minnesota, right? Like colder than hell out there when it's winter time. I lived in Chicago for a while. Like I get it. Maybe for those moments, like just putting your walking shoes on inside the house is the baseline habit. And then you like go to the gym or do something later, but just finding a way to make it so tiny so that you can wire it in and have the permission to do less than you feel like. And on the days you want to do more, do more.
Yeah. Giving ourselves that permission to do less, I think, is definitely the key. So is there anything else that we haven't hit on? I feel like your book is just a gold mine, and everyone will include that in the show notes and everyone can dig into that. But is there anything else you kind of want to leave anyone with as they are listening through all this?
I think it's just to reframe it from like, I have to do this to like, I get to do this in whatever way works for me. And it doesn't need to look like how anyone else is doing it. And no one else has to understand or endorse this. I am doing it for me. And I'm going to act in accordance with the version of me that I know I was created to be.
Love that. Put that on a motivational poster, please.
Yes.
Put that in my office. Oh, that's beautiful. Okay, so tell our audience a little bit about if they want to learn more about you. This is their first time connecting with you. Where can they go to learn all the things and be your next bestie?
Oh yeah. Well, we didn't even talk about higher self stuff.
I know.
So that's a big part of this is like embodying this version of you that you know you were meant to be. And often we don't have a lot of clarity. That sounds very esoteric and very like woo-woo out there. Let me help you get clear on it. So if you go to alessiacitro.com/gift, there's a guided visualization there to help you meet her. And then I also have a free capability guide. It's a lot like what is in the book, but like, how do you make things so easy that you really can't help but do them? Also, I'd love to connect with you on Instagram. And then finally, if you are someone who's like, I want to write a book, this book is, the seed is there. I am ready to conceive this book and bring it into the world. Come write it with me in Jerome, Arizona. It's just outside of Sedona, August 24th through 29th. I know that Abby and Courtney are putting the details in the show notes, but it's going to be amazing. This is the second retreat that I'll be hosting for writing. First one was unbelievable how much people got done. So I'd love to have you there if being an author is on your 2025, 2026 bingo card.
Oh, I love that.
Love it.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here. It was an honor to have you.
Yes.
Thank you for having me. This was wonderful. And yeah, girls, we can do it. We don't need to do habits like the boys. So give yourself permission.
If you like this episode, please be sure to share it with a friend and subscribe so you don't miss any new episodes dropping every Monday. Plus, if you haven't already, please go ahead and leave us a review and don't hesitate to share any new episode ideas. We absolutely love hearing from you and creating this content for you. See you next week.